A new multi-million dollar finance facility for access to solar energy has been launched in Nigeria. Nigerian impact investment company Allon, Odyssey Energy Solutions, and a recently launched Global Alliance for People and Planet, aka the Alliance, have announced the launch of a global aggregated procurement program for renewable energy companies, supported by a $10 million financing facility in Nigeria. Joining us to discuss further from London is Goziem Okubo, who is a senior investment associate with Allon. Goziem, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So apparently this program has an acronym, DART. Well, what does that stand for, and what's the objective?
Thanks, Rhodas. It's great to be here. The acronym stands for Demand Aggregated Renewable Technologies. That's what makes up DART. And the idea behind what we're trying to do is to help renewable energy developers in Nigeria to create and maintain economies of scale and ultimately aggregate procurement of solar products and ultimately bring down the cost of solar for end users of renewable energy products in Nigeria. That's the simple message and mission behind what we're trying to do in the DART program.
Great stuff. So what's the role of Allon? What's the role that Allon is playing in this collaboration?
Yeah, fantastic. Allon is an impact investor. And so we directly finance solar companies, renewable energy companies, actually. And in this role, in this sort of mechanism, we are launching and managing the finance facility. So the DART program is simple, right? You have aggregated procurement. You also have equipment financing to finance the upfront cost of joining the program of procuring equipment from tier one suppliers and then bringing them down into Nigeria. Allon provides the upfront financing to enable developers participate in this program, and then we create debt facilities for them that are affordable and can be repaid over a period of time.
Great stuff. It's about the money. What about the role of Odyssey Energy Solutions in the collaboration?
Yeah, so that's very key. Odyssey basically acts as the aggregation agent, right? So Odyssey works with the developers to group their orders together and ultimately negotiate volume-based discounts with manufacturers in order to bring down the unit cost that each developer will pay for their products compared to what they would have paid if they were doing this themselves. So Odyssey aggregates the orders, negotiates the discounts, and then manages the logistics process of bringing the equipment down into Nigeria. Allon creates financing for the developers to participate in that program, thereby bringing down, the cost of solar equipment in Nigeria.
Great stuff. It's like a perfectly choreographed dance with everybody playing their roles. When we say aggregated procurements for solar equipment, as you've mentioned, it's these companies coming together to basically finance access to said equipment.
Basically, it's actually, I like to say it's a bit of a fancy word, right? It's something like groupage, right? So groupage deals are something that Nigerian entrepreneurs have been doing for a long time. You look at components that are similar. So take spare parts, for example, and one trader, instead of placing an order to a manufacturer who would not be able to give them any discounts because of the small size of their order, negotiates with other traders in order to fill up a container basically and reduce their unit costs of bringing these products down into Nigeria. That's really what we're doing. It's a groupage deal for the solar industry. We also have a similar model in the health industry with Gavi, which negotiates with vaccine manufacturers on behalf of countries like Nigeria in order to bring down and make affordable the cost of life-saving vaccines, and bring them into the countries, supported by financing facilities as well. So it's a pretty common model that has worked in other sectors, and this is what we're trying to do in the renewable energy sector. The reason we're doing this is because the sector, while there's a lot of innovation that's happening, is still dominated by what we would term small and medium enterprises, and so they don't always have those economies of scale in terms of the size of their orders manufacturers and the amount of financing available to them in order to negotiate these great rates from the manufacturers. So what we're trying to do is, instead of 10 people placing really small orders and having high unit costs, group them together into a large order supported by financing, negotiate better costs with manufacturers, negotiate better costs with logistics suppliers and agents, and remove middlemen from that process as much as possible in order to bring down the landed cost of these equipment, as well as allow the developers participate in other programs that are results based. So bring down the cost of the landed cost of solar into Nigeria, and ultimately, which is our main goal, bring down the unit cost that customers have to pay or can pay for these solutions in order to make renewable energy more accessible to the people who need them.
Great stuff. Is the Nigerian government playing any role in this collaboration at all?
This collaboration exists to support some of the good work that the government is doing. So, led by the REA, the Rural Electrification Agency, and the NERC, there are a lot of really good programs that the government is supporting, including the Nigeria Electrification Project, right? And the NEP is a result-based. It gives a results-based subsidy to developers who are building mini grid and solar home systems solutions for unserved and underserved customers across Nigeria. But because these subsidies are results-based, you basically have to find the financing and build your project before you are able to, qualify for these subsidies and the people who need the power before they're able to get light. And so what a program like us, like DART, what we're trying to do does is it helps that program bridge the upfront financing gap that the developers currently have in order to bring down the costs, but also to enable them run projects faster, and then enable the program as well work better as it was originally designed. And we see another role that the government plays in enabling the environment for business to thrive. And that is really around the policies, around customs, around tariffs, basically making these things more clear and allowing developers to know better what is obtainable by way of tariffs for what products, and also allowing investors make investment decisions in a way that is clear and can be planned for. That's the role of the government, also setting standards and allowing the innovation that we see in this sector to thrive. I think the government has done a good job of doing that.
All right, great stuff. Now, I understand this is this pilot is going to expand into other African countries. You picked a big target to start first. Why was Nigeria picked first instead of, say, I don't know, Namibia or Gabon or a smaller country?
That's a great question. I think it's really around the regulation, the regulatory environment for Nigeria in terms of mini grids and renewable energy access is probably one of the best in Africa, right? Some of the legislation that we have and some of the programs like the NEP that I mentioned, as well as investor-led programs and donor-led programs that are obtainable. These things grouped together mean that there is a lot of innovation, and Nigeria is a ripe market to test out business models and then, eventually scale them out into the rest of Africa. That's what we see from our work in Allon. We are supported by a $200 million commitment by Shell, and we've been working over the last couple of years to seed and support innovation in the energy access space in Nigeria. And we have a portfolio of about 40 companies today, and we are seeing all sorts of innovation happening around different stages of a company's growth. So the early stage companies building new pilots, as well as the growth stage companies trying to do local assembly and local manufacturing in terms of solar panels, as well as second life lithium-ion battery solutions and things like that. There's a lot of innovation happening in the Nigerian market. I think that's why we decided to launch this program here and then ultimately expand into the rest of Africa. We have about 5 African countries that we're planning for.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Look, we have to have you back to keep talking about this innovation. Very exciting stuff. Goziem Okubo, Senior Investment Associate with Allon. Thank you so much for talking to us about the large facility for solar energy in Nigeria as far as procurement is concerned.